All right, over the last day or so, I've taken a few trades. These two that I have highlighted here, this long and this short. I also took one long here that got stopped out. So 2 wins, 1 loss over the last day or so. And so in this video, I basically just want to go over how I entered these trades, what were the levels I was looking at, and what were the confirmations. So first off, for this long trade, you can see I entered this on a retracement after we had already gotten a pretty significant move to the upside. And this golden pocket here was a level I was looking at. It's actually a level I talked about in my last video. So I basically had this zone in mind, the golden pocket, the value area low, and I was potentially looking for a scalp from there. And I actually did take a scalp when we first touched off this level from right here. We saw some longs getting stopped out, as you can see from that decrease of open interest. It wasn't massive, but yeah, I just took a little scalp there, and I was never able to TP1 on this, so this ended up getting stopped out at a loss. And from there, I mean, we did technically see absorption afterwards. You saw CVD making lower lows as price made higher lows here, and the open interest was increasing. So there was absorption at those lows, and it was still in between the golden pocket and the 786. But for whatever reason, I didn't take that trade, and we ended up getting a pretty large move to the upside afterwards. So, it always sucks when you watch price, get a large move in a direction right after you just got stopped out of a trade in that direction. It's a little tough to watch, but, it tends to happen a lot. And when this does happen, I typically will pull a fib retracement covering that move and, potentially look to enter on a retracement. Now, in this case, you could see that golden pocket retracement lines up, again, pretty perfectly with the value area low. And there were a few ideas I was looking at here. If we saw a move back down here and we saw a bunch of people shorting this, if we saw CVD make a lower low with open interest increasing, as we got this retracement, I may trade this as absorption, and I might put my stop loss, down below this low, maybe target the highs of the range for like a decent risk reward. So that was one trade plan I was looking at. Another idea I was looking at is, maybe treating it as more of a scalp trade, maybe looking for more local absorption, and maybe being able to put my invalidation down below the wick. Okay, yeah, I can't get it to line up perfectly right now, but when I was looking at it from wherever I had the fixed range pulled, we got a bounce off the value area low almost perfectly to the dollar. We came a little bit below the 6.5, and yeah, we started getting a little reaction from there. Once I saw that we started getting a little reaction, I pulled up Coinalyze, and well, I noticed that there was a pretty massive decrease of open interest on that last wick. A lot of longs got stopped out. As you know, a decrease of open interest during a large move often shows weakness in the move. It kind of shows that the move was just a liquidity grab and not really a strong move. So I had that in mind as we got a bounce from that key level, even though it was a local key level. And as we started getting a bounce up here, I did notice some shorts begin to open up. It is very slight, but looking at this candle where we created the wick, then to the next candle, CVD did make a lower low, and if I move this open interest above those annoying buttons, we did have a blue candle of open interest afterwards. So we did see some shorts open up here as price was, getting a move back to the upside. Extremely slight absorption, and that wasn't the main confirmation I was looking for, but considering the fact that we just saw a massive decrease of open interest as well, that was just kind of the cherry on top. And so I decided that this trade was worth it for me. Invalidation down below the wick, if that very slight absorption that we saw right here was going to remain valid, then I could keep my invalidation down below there. And because I had such a tight stop loss on this one, my stop loss was like a 0.15% move. I could put more margin on the trade basically like 50% more than my average margin, I would say. So, what that means is at TP1, I can TP 1/3 of my position, take out a decent amount of profits at TP1, and then still have like my average position size remaining. And that is what I did since I had such a tight invalidation. And my first TP was right around here at this support resistance area. If I put a horizontal line here, I think I actually might have moved it down a little bit here because we had resistance, support, support, some resistance here, some support here. So overall, this was a pretty key area, and yeah, that seemed like a good TP1 there. And this was like a 0.25% move, which is already greater than my stop loss was. So yeah, that was a nice TP1. I almost got back all of the losses from the previous trade just in my TP1, and then I let the rest ride. And yeah, since I had a decent amount left in this position still, this almost 2% move that we got here ended up being a juicer. That was a really good trade there. And as we came up to the point of control, I did take out a lot of profits up in this area. I even FOMO'd some out as we started losing these lows over here. But I did get stopped out, leaving some profits on the table. But either way, I still locked in a very great profit just from this simple scalp trade. And I was good with that, especially since, prior, I didn't think I was going to be able to get a long trade here. Honestly, this retracement was a little bit of a surprise, even though I pulled up the golden pocket and I was hoping for it. This was seeming like a pretty strong move. We had money flow increasing on the 5 minute. So, even the fact that I was able to get along here, I'm good with that. And since I had such a tight invalidation, I was able to put more margin on the trade and capitalize on this a little bit more. So after I got stopped out here, I was pretty much done trading for the night. And then fast forward to this morning, we were somewhere up in this area when I woke up, and I had this previous high marked out. It's not a significant market structure high. All of this pretty much in here is just internal structure with the last higher low in this little uptrend that Bitcoin is in being at like 27.2K and the higher high being up here at 28.5. But I was looking at this wick, considering there might be some stop losses up here, might be some liquidity. And I noticed that the value area high was right above that wick, as well as the 786. So we had some nice confluence above that high, potentially some stop losses up there. And so, yeah, this was the trade setup I was looking for this morning when I first woke up. And we ended up getting this SFP pretty quickly. And I gotta say, I wasn't super confident in this, even though I did still, take this pretty aggressively. I entered pretty much as soon as we started losing that level. But the money flow on the 5 minute was making me a little bit worried about this short. The money flow on the 3 minute, however, was looking pretty good. And we did see divergences as we made that high on the 12 minute and down. I wasn't sure if the 12 minute divergence was going to print at the time because, the red dot hadn't printed yet. But I saw that there was potential for the divs on the 12 minute and down. On the 6 minute, it was looking more confident, even though the money flow was increasing. The 3 minute, we did still get slight divergences there with momentum, and we also saw the divergence with money flow very clearly. The money flow was in a pretty steady downtrend here. And if I look at the 1 minute, we also saw slight money flow divergence. And if you go from this wave back here, we also had momentum divergence. And so that was making me think, okay, I might want to take a short here. So first, on that wick to the upside, we saw a large decrease of open interest. These buttons are getting in the way again, but you can see that purple candle there. So lots of shorts getting stopped out of those highs, lots of stop losses getting hit. And then afterwards, As we started getting this little retest back to the upside, we did see some local absorption. So, again, pretty similar strategy. Even though the last trade was not an SFP, we did see a large decrease of open interest prior to some local absorption. So the confirmations were similar. And at this point, I was, already in the short. I had just shorted the SFP after the decrease of open interest. That was enough confirmations for me. But the absorption afterwards definitely gave me some more confidence in holding this short. I was a little less worried about it, you could say. And yeah, with this one, I also had pretty decent risk reward. I had entered over here, and so my first take profit was right around those highs. So yeah, I could take a measured move from there. That was about a 0.42% move, with my stop loss being a 0.25. So I was able to lock in a break even pretty quickly. I didn't put my stop loss at my entry right away. I actually put my stop loss above the 886 fib. I wanted to, try and stay in this position as best as I could. And yeah, I mean, the 886 has been, at least in my experience, a pretty good stop loss. I used to do the 786 a lot, but recently the 786 has been getting tapped, and even price will come a little bit above the 786. Kind of hit all the stops that are above the 786 or below it if it's, a support 786. But yeah, it seems like the 786 has been being hunted, maybe because more people are putting their stop losses above it. And that ended up being a good move because price then came back up to the golden pocket, which is right where my entry was. So if I put my stop loss on my entry, I would have gotten wicked out here at the golden pocket retest, and then I would have watched price move on without me. So this is a good example of why sometimes when I'm confident in a trade, I like to maintain a bit more risk, and I usually won't put my stop loss to entry until I'm pretty confident that price will not come back up to my entry, at least without invalidating my trade. So by the time we had, come down here, the 786 was below my entry. The 886 was a little bit above it, but at this point, I put my stop loss at my entry because if we're going to come, above the 786, I'm going to consider that trade idea invalid anyway. And so that's pretty much what I did. I moved my stop loss to entry after TP2, which was down at the lows of this little range. And right now I'm still in this trade. Price is retracing back to the upside a little bit. Maybe I can even look to add to this trade at the golden pocket, which we just tapped off of. So let's see, are we seeing any absorption here? And we are seeing longs opening up, but not seeing any absorption from any of these highs. CVD has not come up high enough yet, but maybe if we keep getting a move up towards the 786 and we do see absorption, we see that CVD come up above these highs over here, I may consider adding to that short. And I forgot to mention my TP3, which was down at this daily open. So yeah, I mean, overall, this short ended up playing out very nicely. Both of these trades have. And another thing I forgot to mention, some other Confluence that was at that high, but I didn't notice until afterwards, was an NDPOC. It's very interesting a lot of times when you start finding these areas of confluence, like we had, this wick that we could SFP into the 786 and the value area high, an area of confluence up there. A lot of times, when you have those areas of confluence, there will be other levels there that you might not be aware of, which, is pretty much the reason why we look for areas of confluence, because a lot of times if there's multiple things pointing to one level, then there's a higher chance that many traders around the world are looking at that same level for one reason or another. Maybe someone just had this NDPOC marked out. They had no idea about the 786 or the value area high, and they were still interested to trade this same level. So it is very interesting how these levels of confluence work out and how many people may be looking at the same exact level but for different reasons. So yeah, those were my last few trades. It's been a very great day and a half of trading or so. I am looking for a few more scalps. Hopefully, maybe we can hit those today. Maybe some of these lower ones would be nice considering I am still in this short. But yeah, I am still looking at a potential SFP of this higher low down here. And I am still looking at this untapped daily with the golden pocket and a potential SFP of the higher high as well. Those are the main trades that I'm looking for next. I may be looking for, some scalp trades as well, like maybe a golden pocket retracement if we see good enough confirmations. Like, if we see absorption locally coming into this golden pocket around the value area low. There is also this wick that we just put in down there that we could SFP, so we could trade this as an SFP. And yeah, I am looking to hold this short trade if I can. I'm looking to hold a short trade for, tomorrow. If for some reason the FOMC meeting ends up dumping us, then I would like to be in a short ahead of time. I am still in other longs. And yeah, other than that, I will just be taking the trades as they are presented to me. All right, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Really appreciate the support, and I'll see you all in the next one.